Hi everybody. For many months, almost a year probably now, we've been in lockdowns, restrictions, having to like adjust to a different way of living, how it's affected our normal day-to-day living. But on top of that as well, it's affected people's well-being and mental health gradually started throughout the year. The more it's carried on, the more it's created a problem around mental health. But at the same time, it had to be done. So you're in that situation there where it had to be done, but at the same time, it's caused a lot of problems with people's pain, suffering, how it's affected them in so many different ways. Like financially, people losing their jobs, people losing loved ones, in general, just people's mental health being affected, social being socially disconnected from people that you may not have seen for a long time, just socially disconnected from the outside world, even though you can go out for your day-to-day daily walks, your essential things, but on top of that, it's just not the same. And when something like that comes along, it can affect our well-being and loneliness, feeling isolated because of it. And on top of all that, we're on our way out of winter months now, but it was winter time when we was in this lockdown. So on top of that, it just a lot of people have problems anyway throughout the winter months, feeling lonely and isolated. So it's double impacted on people as well. People may be getting tired, like it becomes taxing. The whole thing just becomes taxing and very difficult to cope with. But we'll be soon coming, like knowing about how they're going to gradually ease the lockdown, but it's still going to be left with people suffering with their mental health. Even when the lockdown is over, people are still going to be suffering with their mental health. It's not going to be something that it's just going to go overnight, just like that. It's not as easy as that. But on top of that as well, anxiety and fear of when that lockdown, when they start to ease the lockdown itself, you only go out if you really have to. So we've been spending a lot more time indoors, and spending more time indoors in itself creates that problem, creates a habit of finding it very difficult to go out. Like the fear, creating fear and anxiety around it. So all that on top as well, even though some people might be happy, we're probably all happy that the lockdown is going to be easing soon, but it still doesn't take away that people are suffering, and a lot more are suffering with their mental health because of it. So improving, like to overcome that situation, if you're fearing about going out back to like what it's going to be like going back to a bit of normality, that in itself can create a bit of fear and anxiety, and it draws you within like your inner world. You start, you can create like the inner world, like becoming stagnant, like goes to your thoughts, start overthinking. It just can just snowball, like a problem can just snowball into something big with anxiety. So overcoming that, like anxiety in itself is possible to overcome. It's not something that a lifelong thing, but it's how you cope with that anxiety that can enable you to overcome it. Now, for many, if you're suffering with that anxiety, it depends on what is causing your anxiety. Now, to overcome something like that is to get to that root cause of what is causing you to have that anxiety. And a lot of it as well is the fear. So facing that fear, facing it. If the thoughts come along with the anxiety, is a little bit different in facing those thoughts, because you can quite easily get drawn into it, and that in itself can just snowball into something really big. So with the thoughts, is all about putting away from those thoughts that are created with the anxiety, the inner world, and focusing on something the outer connects you. So you disconnect yourself from those thoughts that are going around with the anxiety, to connect with something of the outer world, something that you can do to improve it, improve a different way of thinking. So it's like, and like with the fear, if you're having fear, a bit of fear of actually going out, if you've been stuck in for so long and not been going out much, that in itself causes a bit of anxiety. So facing that fear is to actually do the opposite and do it. Maybe like gradual steps, do it gradually, little baby steps, and just going outside, going outside and just doing it gradual, and you will see that there's nothing to be afraid of, there's nothing to worry about, because that in itself creates a big problem with the anxiety, the worry and the fear. So it's overcoming that fear to help with your anxiety, really, is to face that fear, to face it. And with the thoughts is connecting with the outer world, doing something that you can connect to, do something that really you enjoy doing, or something you might want to start to do, something that is going to connect you to the outer world. Like do it like being creative, connect with that, connect with what you're drawing, and put away from that inner, because anxiety is created within yourself, and it can cause a lot of problems with even panic attacks on top of that. For panic attacks, breathing exercises is very good for panic attacks. It helps with your anxiety. So you take in deep breath, hold, and then slowly exhale out. They're very good for anxiety and panic attacks as well. Maybe just trying going out, and if you're out, take some pictures so you're connecting with the outer world, and putting away from that inner with it. But like I said, with the problems of people maybe fearing about what it's going to be like, what it's going to be like when this lockdown is completely over, what life is actually going to be like. We can make our own future of what we want it to be like. So maybe set out some goals, so you've got something to look forward to that can pull you to the outer world, to start connecting with the outer world. Whatever you want to do, set out some goals for when we come out this lockdown, and when things gradually get back to normal. It will give you something to focus on, something good, something positive to focus on, rather than something that you're going to fear the what ifs, what is it going to be like, pull away from that and have goals set out. They're very good to have, like what you want your life to be like, really, and it helps to pull you away from that panic, that fear, that overcoming it. Because with anxiety, like I said, you can overcome it. It's all about what you do to help with it, and by connecting with the outer rather than the inner can reduce the anxiety, the stress, everything that is laid on top, and even the thinking, the thoughts as well. It will reduce it, it will eliminate it a bit as well. So I'm going to end the video there. I just wanted to do this video because as we are coming out of, well, going to be gradually coming out of the lockdown, there are going to be, I should imagine, a few people worried. There's still going to be people suffering with their mental health. Like I said, it's not going to go away just like that. But it's all about having something to focus on to enable you and to cope with it as well. To cope with your mental health. It's all important. Having these I've done my last video I done with self-help coping tools. They're very important. They get you out of bad situations, difficult situations. It helps to eliminate it, but it's all about what works for you and what you do to help with your mental health and to cope with it. So I'm going to end the video there. Please share this video because mental health is very important and it should be taken notice of. It shouldn't be pushed under the carpet. I think with all what's gone on, I think we've learnt a lesson there that mental health is really important because many people are suffering, more people than probably there ever have been in some sort of a way. So like I said, please share this video and don't forget to give us a like.